Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody today? It's Tracy, your integrative nutrition health coach and personal trainer, and it is Heart Health Month. It's Heart Health Month, and I wanted to go ahead and do a show today. It's also Wear Red Day, I believe, is the hashtag. Oh my goodness, I should know that. Yes, anyway, it's Friday. And yeah, we are showing support for our heart health by wearing red. So I decided to dress up and get into my red today and even wear red lipstick that I usually only wear when I'm doing a choir concert or something. But yeah, so I wanted to come today to celebrate our heart health and just let you know some ways that you can support your heart right now. I spent some time on the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute website this morning. It was very informative. I highly recommend you hop on over to that website because they have phenomenal PDF downloads that you can read. And I'm just going to go today and, just help reiterate what they're saying and things that I've learned through my training about heart disease and how you can support your body to prevent it, and then also how you can help your body reduce the inflammation and stress within it, to help your body, reverse some of that heart disease if you do have it. So anyway, one of the best things you can do is to realize that you have to take care of yourself. Okay, so that comes, I believe, first. And maybe even if you have a hard time imagining that you're worth taking care of yourself, it is really primary. The term used is self-care. And again, I know for me, I was very much in the corporate world and where we didn't take care of ourselves and we would run ourselves into the ground. But again, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute states that heart disease is a leading cause of death in the United States. But the good part is that we can do a lot to prevent it. So what does self-care mean? Researchers define self-care as what you do to stay healthy. It's also what you do to care for any health problems you have, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and mental health or mental health disorders. So it's realizing that you have the right, and it is so important for you to take care of yourself. Ways that you can help yourself and partake in self-care in regard to your heart. It's really important to get exercise. We live in a very sedentary world these days, and if you can think of it, your heart really is a muscle, and its job is to pump blood throughout your body. And like any muscle, if you don't use it, it becomes weak and atrophies. So think about it this way. When you exercise, your heart has to pump harder to get blood and oxygen to all areas of your body. And if you're not used to exercising, it's going to be very hard and for your heart to do that. And it's going to take a fitness routine, basically, to get it to where it's strong enough to be able to do that. So, the recommendation, again, from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute is, can you do a 30-minute brisk walk each day? Just something as simple as that to get that heartbeat really working, get it stronger in just 30 minutes a day. One thing I do to help myself is that, because I am pretty busy, but I'm also in a very sedentary state now because of COVID, I am sitting a lot. But I commit to that 30-minute, get outside, 15 minutes out, 15 minutes back. You can start with a walk, and then you can start adding some running into that. Even if maybe 30 minutes is too much to start, go ahead and set a timer for 10 minutes. Go out for 5 and 5 back, and see how much further you can get in that 5 minutes. each time you go out and challenge yourself like that to help your heart get stronger. Again, we can't see our heart, from the outside in, but we can visualize it like a bicep, a thigh muscle, a calf muscle. The more you work it, the bigger and stronger it gets, the stronger it gets, and the more that muscle can do, just the same as your heart. So that's one way that you can take care of your heart. The other thing that's really important is cooking meals that are low in sodium and unhealthy fats. So sodium is hidden in so many foods. If you don't cook your own food, it's incredible how difficult it is to find packaged food that is not high in sodium and sugar, but we're talking sodium for the moment. So, see if you can cook meals at home or learn how to cook meals at home, and then don't add any salt while you're cooking. This is one thing I learned too, is I don't add any salt in the cooking process. And then it gives me the opportunity to just add a little dash if I wanted at the table. And so that's a really great way to help your heart, because again, sodium at high levels is very harmful to our bodies. And unhealthy fats are basically, I'll come back to this one, but unhealthy fats are those that have been chemically made. And there's a big dispute about fats right now as to what is, what we should be eating in terms of fats. So I'm going to glean over that briefly. But again, understanding what a healthy fat and an unhealthy fat is really important. Our body does need fat. Our brain does need fat. But we want those kinds that support our body. So they also state that if you are on any medications, be sure to take those medications, but also, and keep your medical appointments. But also, I want to add, talk to your doctor about, say, hey, what can I do to possibly get off of these medications? What can I do in terms of my health, my activities, my food? If you're on a high blood pressure medication, be sure definitely, if you're going to be going on on a path to try and reverse your high blood pressure, make sure your doctor knows. And you want to stay really in tune with that, because as your body gets healthier and as your high blood pressure drops, you would need a smaller amount of medication than you would need, say, if you weren't making the lifestyle changes that you need to make. So they really recommend, again, staying in contact with your doctor. This is a really good one that I hadn't really thought about in terms of heart health, but it does make sense. And I talk about this a lot as well. And definitely in the book, Your Personal Journey with Food, is we talk about sleep. You really need to get your sleep. That's part of self-care. Self-care during sleeping, what that helps your body do is, number one, it helps to regenerate new cells. When you sleep, it helps your body detox and get rid of the toxins in your body, which is really important. And also, sleep helps you to have a less stressful life. So if you're having trouble getting adequate sleep, you're going to want to be sure to look at your sleep habits and do a little bit of research on ways that you can go ahead and institute a really good sleep habit cycle. I, again, used to pride myself. I would stay up till 1 a.m. working, and I would get up at like 5 a.m, 6 a.m, and do it all again. And that's when I really got into a lot of trouble, because I was so tired. I didn't have a lot of energy, so I had a lot of cravings, and I was really grumpy, and I had a hard time thinking. And it was a real battle for me to realize that a lot of my health challenges and why I became pre-diabetic was because I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't letting my body rest. And therefore, I was trying to overcompensate with sugar, lots of wine. I wasn't paying any attention to what I was eating. So again, sleep is so important. Through that too is managing stress. So Again, I mentioned by not sleeping, you can get very distressed, extremely distressed, and that will integrate into other areas of your life. And so managing stress through exercise, our body needs to move and to get rid of those stress hormones. And so if we're constantly sitting and inactive but under high stress, it's very hard on the body, very hard on the heart. So exercising, you can try yoga, just sitting quietly, meditating is really good. A good book or watching a funny movie. They say laughter is the best medicine. So, really looking at also acknowledging what is causing your stress. So I'm a very much a proponent to, we can manage symptoms, but we need to deal with whatever is causing the symptom. So figure out what it is that's causing you distress, and then start putting your mind to work on resolving that and putting a plan together. Okay. And the other thing is you want to be sure to stay at a healthy weight. And I want to reiterate this. We have healthy weight, but I would like to up it a little bit here and say maintaining a healthy body composition, because you can have someone that is overweight, and you can tell because they're carrying more mass, more fat on their body. But you can also have a thin person who has no muscle and is all fat. So I would like to reiterate having a healthy, muscle ratio to fat ratio. Okay. So just by getting on the scale and being skinny doesn't mean that you are technically healthy on the inside. So again, staying at a healthy weight. And if you do have cravings and need a snack, it's always helped me to have those already on hand, having some apples in the fridge, some celery. And also the other thing I wanted to bring up to you on a side note is for cravings and wanting a snack. When you look at your plate and what you are eating, I want you to really think about what that is and what is on there and how that is going to serve you. So the food that you're eating, is that going to help promote heart disease, or is it going to help promote a healthy, vibrant body? Okay. So this can help your brain. Let's just say you have heart disease, or you have prediabetes, or you are type 2 diabetic, for example. And this just seems too hard to try and switch to a healthier lifestyle. I'll be a broken record on this. It's so important to educate your brain as to why are you in that state? Why did your body get there to begin with? That's one thing I had. That was a tough pill for me to swallow. I didn't want to have to swallow that pill, which was, the reality was what I was doing. It was what I was doing that got me there. And so once I figured that out, and I figured out it had everything to do with my mindset towards how I was going to care for my body, my mindset on how I was going to pick food for my body, my mindset on how I was going to talk to myself, right? My mindset on my sleep habits, my mindset on how to move my body. I had to do a lot of that deep work inside first. Why? While I was implementing these new habits. So again, when you're choosing the food you want to snack on, is that food going to keep you going in a direction towards chronic illness and heart disease? Or is that food going to turn you in a direction where your body at night, like I said, when you sleep, regenerates, it detox, it builds new cells? Are those ingredients, those nutrients, going to help build that body, or are they going to help build a sick body? So you have a choice, right? You have a choice of picking. And so it's they have examples of ways to make things easier, on a great handout. And I will go ahead and put in the comments a link to this website. But planning ahead is really important to make all this easier, and putting time aside. One thing that's helped me is to put time aside to go exercise. It's on my calendar. And I promise you, even as a trainer and a health coach, there's times I just don't want to have to do it. I don't want to go. But you know what? I committed to that time on the calendar. And so I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. The other thing is I do plan intermittent times to get up out of my chair here, and I'll do some push-ups. If you're not able to do push-up, that's okay. Do a wall push-up, do some knee ups, march around the house, get that blood up and working, for a few minutes, and then come back and sit down. That's going to help. But yeah, and the other thing is there's a lot of great, in terms of physical activity, right now, there's so much happening on YouTube. There's so many options to find ways to move and partner up, have some friends, even if you can't be together. We're in the middle of a pandemic, but you could say, hey, let's all do this class from home at the same time. And so you could even be across the country and sign into the same YouTube class or something like that, and still have your friends there with you, and try and create some camaraderie that way. Learning to cook. I did not want to have to do that. I didn't want to. I sort of knew how to cook, but I was very, very, when this whole thing started, or when I finally was pre-diabetic, I realized how much processed food I cooked because I just didn't know how. So I really, maybe if it starts with a few things, very simple meals. I admit I get very distressed reading recipes. I am not a good recipe reader. I get anxiety. It's really funny. And so for me, I have to keep things very simple, and my menu very simple, because it does distress me. Some people I know love recipes, but even doing just a little bit of education on how you could go through the grocery store, just the produce department actually, and realize that there's so many things you can put together in that produce section that you don't even need to go add any type of processed sauce to, because everything in that section you can mix together, have a lot of fun with, just trying things. And so once I learned how to do that, my dependence on processed sauces, processed soups, processed broths, everything was alleviated. And it did take me some time, but part of this self-care to prevent chronic illness and reverse chronic illness is learning these types of skills, and they really do come in handy. It really does come in handy. And here's a great one is, and I talk about this in my book too, and Ingrid and I write about this. You have to know where you are so that you know what to do to start your personal journey with food, your supportive journey with food. And here again, the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute states that you must know what your blood work is. So it's so important. Don't put it off. Find out what your blood work is, and so that you can make decisions on how to then proceed. And again, I didn't want to know all of this stuff because, number one, I was afraid of it, but also it really released me from some of my it really released me from the hostile relationship with food that I did have, that I didn't really realize was so much that way. So if you haven't been to the doctor in a while, right now, you've got to go and find out what your blood work is. What's your cholesterol like? What's your blood sugar? What's your fasting blood sugar? What's your A1C? All of those. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important. And sadly, a lot of insurance companies don't even pay for that test anymore. It is worth it. You really need to know what your vitamin D levels are. And my next piece of advice is, once you get that those test results, make sure you really look at them, because you may still be within a parameter of the average. And in the average, you're supposedly fine, but you could be skewing to the high end or to the very low end. And also, my advice is then you also want to optimize. So sometimes the average is based on the standard American. And really, right now, the standard American person has a horrible metabolic panel. The standard American eats really bad and just isn't healthy. So do you want to be measured against that, or do you want to be optimal? So again, find out what your blood panel is. And once you know what that is, you can then make decisions on modifying your diet and your exercise. And I think too, sometimes we can get that blood work and we can feel bad about it, like we've made a horrible mistake and it's terrible news. But if you can look at it as like, oh my gosh, okay, my body is speaking to me. My body is telling me I need to do something to help it. And this can be such an exciting moment, because then you're given the opportunity to do so. That can help alleviate the fear associated with learning about possibly being told you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, you have heart disease. Again, in the book, Your Personal Journey with Food, we talk about listening to our body's messages and the symptoms that we get, and a blood work panel that shows that you're compromised is a symptom of your body. And it's also your body telling you, hey, I need your help. Can you help me out here? Let's do this. Okay. So just because you have higher blood pressure, just because you have high blood sugar and you're heading towards chronic illness, that doesn't mean you can't do anything about it. It means, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I found out, and I have opportunity to learn how to change it. And then also, my other thought for you is, if you are in that position, see if you can make it fun, that you're going to figure it out. Okay. You're going to figure it out. And I say this over and over again, becoming a super sleuth of you, becoming a super sleuth of your behaviors, and also a super sleuth on how your body reacts to certain foods you eat. So again, you've got to get that blood work done. You want to know where you are, okay, so that you know what to do next, okay? So they really recommend that you do that. And again, for me, why not make it fun? Make it a fun experience. And they're also recommending, and I do this, this is great too, but you can go ahead. There's a lot of things at home you can wear to track your activity. Those fitness apps. You can link up with friends on these fitness apps and do challenges for how much you're walking. You can also use these apps, these fitness watches and things like that, to track your blood sugar, your blood pressure. You can track your heart rate, all of that. And then they also, some of these have great eating plans that you can try. And again, if you are having to make a pretty dramatic change in your lifestyle, I understand that can be so overwhelming. But one thing I recommend is, again, crowding out behaviors with different behaviors, and then getting your brain to come on board to learn what the positive side is, to what the other side can be that's not so supportive. Okay. So fitness apps, they're everywhere now. You can try them and see how that works. And then also, really embracing relationships with your friends. And I know for me, I was ashamed at first that I had become pre-diabetic. I was ashamed at my behavior. And I sure as heck didn't want to tell anybody, because I felt, how could I have allowed myself to become pre-diabetic? And so I really actually isolated myself. But if you are on a journey and you're starting a journey to reverse heart disease, to reverse a chronic illness, hey, say, gosh, you guys, listen, this is what I found out. And I really want you want to bring your friends and your family in around you to help you and to support you in your journey, because that's just so important to have that person, that family member that can help you, maybe through craving. You're just dying to have cake and you committed to yourself you weren't going to have it, and you just want to talk to somebody and try and get through that. Really, really important to get that family and that support. One thing too to talk about is if you smoke, you got to stop smoking. So smoking is just brings in toxins into your body. Your poor body's got to try and compensate for. And smoking is a gateway to chronic illness. It's a gateway to cancer. It hurts your heart. It hurts your lungs. It hurts your blood vessels. It's just very harmful. And so that's another recommendation, by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, as well as the Heart Association. So smoking. Goodness here. So anyway, obstacles. Here's obstacles to prepare for. So let's just say you want to get started. Just know that you'll fail on your journey several times. And if you allow yourself the opportunity to say, hey, okay, I know there's going to be days I'll probably fail on this journey to reverse my diagnosis, or I'm going to fall down and fail and not exercise, because I just got off track, and there's also the aspect, this the lack of confidence to be able to make the change. It can be scary. It can be too big. So having more than one health concern. So if you're addressing more situations, and that can seem just really big. So my thought there is just take small steps. And the most incredible part, if you are working on multiple chronic illnesses, heart disease, high blood pressure, prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, brain fog, just lethargy, feeling just fatigued, the body is all connected. Okay. The body is connected and all your organs are connected. Your brain, your gut, all of that is connected. So anything you start to do for one is going to inadvertently help the other. So pick one thing. My biggest advice that I can give you is high nutrition. Nutritionally dense food. I would look that up. Dense food, nutritionally dense food, because a lot of the challenges we're having is that we get a lot of calories, but we have no nutrition. And so cravings happen because of that. Your body is still, even if you ate, your body still needs those nutrients and it's lacking in them. So just by adding nutrition, maybe you don't change anything else yet, just start to add nutrition in as much as you can will help. One thing that I do, because it's the easiest for me, is we have a Vitamix, a big Vitamix, and every morning we have a big smoothie, and it has a lot of spinach, apple. I have a banana and some berries and a vegetarian protein powder. So I'll have that for breakfast, and then for lunch I have another massive one stuffed with greens and a little bit of fruit and some other, maybe some hemp seeds or something like that. And my whole mission is to get high dense nutrition into me. And that helps prevent those cravings. And that also helps me, all of a sudden, I don't want the other type of food anymore. So to get started, I would say, look at your plate and seeing how you can start adding nutritionally dense food into it. And that's going to help every part of your body, every part. So that will help. They do mention as well being depressed. So if you have depression, definitely getting help with that. But also, they're finding there's a lot of aspects of nutrition deficiency related to depression. So really look at that. Do some research there and see how you can help your body feel better, and the chemical aspects of your body feel better, and the hormones work better together. And that's a great way to do it. So anyway, it is Heart Health Month, and you know, think of it again. I'm just going to recap. Think of it. It is a muscle, and like any muscle, it needs to be active. And it's actually our very most important muscle, as it pumps the blood throughout our body. And to keep it healthy, you want to eat nutritionally dense foods. You want to be physically active and make that heart work and get stronger and stronger. So healthy foods, get moving, aim for a healthy weight. And again, I want to reiterate, I prefer it to be a great muscle percentage to fat percentage. Again, because you can be look like you're thin and fit and be all fat. You want to have that really good, strong muscle on your body. So reduce stress, improve sleep, quit smoking, and know your metabolic numbers. Go get your blood work done. It's so important. And yes, and get a team around you, a support team, and realize it'll be a journey, and be willing to walk on that journey. And I promise you it'll be worth it. Okay. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and take care of that heart. And I will put the link to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. I'll put that into the comments below. And like I said, they have amazing PDFs. They have amazing information on how you can go ahead and take care of your heart. And with that, have a wonderful day. Talk to you all soon.